With the Oshawa Generals celebrating their 75th anniversary, fans of the hockey club can easily recall their first memories of watching their favorite team play. And that's even true for their general manager, Chris DePiro, who is in charge of one of the most well-known franchises in junior hockey. Chris describes what was going through his mind when he first joined the club as an assistant coach.
For me, it's the players of the years gone by, the Bobby Orrs, and for me, I remember watching Tony Tanti, at the old Civic. I'd grown up in Toronto and went played minor hockey with St. Mike's that had a AAA program. And Tony Tanti had played for the midget team that year that I was playing at him, and then subsequently, obviously, came here to Oshawa and had a fantastic career here with the Generals. So I do remember going to the Civic and watching Tony with my parents, and that whole tradition of the Generals and the history and what it means to not only Oshawa but the Durham region is pretty rich.
With the Generals still playing under the Civic Auditorium when Chris arrived, you would expect that there would be challenges playing in a smaller venue. But Chris tells us that he actually liked the old Civic.
Yeah, but you know what, I think certainly, I had the benefit of coaching there at the Junior A level when I was coaching the St. Mike's Junior Buzzers and certainly playing the Oshawa Legionnaires. And buildings like that have tremendous character, and you talk about the fans building it, and it's certainly a rink for the people, and it had all that character that old style rinks always seem to have, and I loved it there, and I think it had a unique atmosphere, and one that I thought was fantastic.
Operating a CHL franchise in today's economic times requires modern facilities, and Chris discusses why new arenas are necessary in today's game.
Certainly, I think in terms of if you look at the OHL as a whole, and the product of major junior hockey in Ontario and in our league is one which has grown, and it's grown to the point where facilities like ours are becoming the norm. Certainly in the late 90s, you saw the Guelphs and the Sarnia and Barrie building the new rinks, and they kind of have that in a certain feel. But with our facility here, it's we feel very special and blessed to have a facility like this, and I think it's allowed for us to grow our product and kind of take it to a new century, if you will, for lack of a better term. But I think if you look at the growth of as I said, Oshawa and the Durham region in terms of population growth, a facility of this size, has allowed for us to meet that growth head on. And no more evidence this past weekend where, we 2 home games with Brampton and Peterborough, and we had over 10,000 fans combined, and that's fantastic, and we're certainly happy for it, and this facility has allowed us to do that.
Chris feels that the General Motors Center in Oshawa gives the Generals different opportunities for revenue that the Civic Auditorium couldn't provide.
I think that's, you start looking at, and as I say, taking the product into another sort of century, if you will, and we're proud of our tradition here with Oshawa, and certainly this year being our 75th anniversary, we want to play on the tradition that we have with being in the community, but here allowing, as you mentioned, to give us different opportunities from a revenue perspective, allows us to take the product to a different level. And as I said, the Ontario Hockey League's done a fantastic job on a mass level for all 20 teams, and the CHL in general for all 60 teams in terms of having national exposure with different corporations and that have come on board with different programs. It's allowed us to do the same on a minor scale here, and certainly if these facilities allow us to do that.
And at some point in time when Chris retires from the game, what will he remember most about his time in Oshawa?
That's a great question, and for me, I look at it, and this is my 6th year with the organization, and I love the fact that the fans are as passionate as they are. It's just little things that you see that happens in our building that doesn't happen in other buildings, in terms of how they rally around our players, whether it's guys who are, I remember Igor Gingulski was a player who was a fantastic penalty killer. Whenever he would do his job and be able to keep the puck up ice, the fans would give him a standing ovation. Or Corey Nagy, they would do the same thing. So it wasn't just cheering the great goals that you see, or but it's just those appreciative moments of situations like that tell me that our fans are educated about the game, they're passionate about the game, and they care about it. And we see it in all these different events that we go to off the ice. But when you see it on home games, I know from the players' perspective, that gives them a lift, because it basically accentuates what those guys are doing, so-called lesser lights, and I think that's important, because that speaks to maybe the blue collar aspect of the history of this town and the history of this team, to appreciate moments like that, notwithstanding the great goals that you see, whether it be from Christian Thomas or, you know, of John Tavares of the world that we've had here in my time. But certainly it's the other stuff that they appreciate, and I like that because, you know, certainly it speaks to the character of our team.